All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Support webinar. Today's date is Saturday, August 24th, 2019. And the title of today's webinar is You Must Wait for the Retrace or Kiss Trade. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar, other webinars we have, our live trading room, or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should ever be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, if not, we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, first off, let me show you one screen here just real quick. One thing I'd highly recommend for anybody that really wants to know the type of trades that we trade at Viper Trading Systems and trade them continuously are these trade setups. 4 trade setups to memorize. Learn about identified swings because that's super important to our way of trading. Then the phantom trades. Okay. And those 3 videos right there are just about 2 hours and probably 18 minutes total between all 3 of them. Will teach you quite a bit about how to trade our particular setups. Okay, but today we're going to go over it in a live webinar, and I'll show you some things that we watch for. Okay, bear with me one second. You should be able to see a chart coming up. Now, let's just say that you're the type of trader that you're in different parts of the world or something like that, so you trade different than we trade oil. What do you see on this chart right now? I mean, if you were to decide to trade this chart, what would you be looking for? Where's that menu at, Kevin? Just one sec. I think I took it all totally off, but let me go back to that. Bear with me a second. I'll get back to it. It's under your member login. Everything's actually under member login as far as all the training goes. Anybody can come into our website and watch our just regular webinars. We've got about 12 or 15 on there usually. But the real training that's in here, it's under your members login, and you have to use your user ID and password to get in there. Okay, and you scroll down past all this, and right there pops up the weekly webinars for download. Now, these are some training webinars right here that that are in this blue right here, and this is your ebook right here to teach you how to use Object Trader. Okay, anybody have any questions on it, just let me know. You're welcome. All right, so let's look at this chart. Now, if you were up right now, to give an example, what would you first start to do on this chart? What's the very first thing that you want to do when you see this type of a chart set up? Anybody? Because we have 3 types of trades that I think you will really like, and that's your phantom trade, your mid-band trade, and pretty much your KISS trade. Oh, and then there's one other one, the minimum criteria. I won't teach on that as much today. I think Charles went over that quite well on Thursday. But yeah, you want to draw your support and resistance lines, right? So what I normally do is I look for thrusts, retrace thrust, and I'll draw my lines on my chart. Looking to the left to trade the right, I would draw a line right there. I would draw a line right across here, and that's the range you're in right now, right? Okay, now you could even say you're in this range now, so let's get it down just a little bit and say that you're also not really coming out of this range yet, right? Okay, because they just barely kind of wicked it and everything. So if you were up this time of morning, what type of trade would you be looking for here? Anybody? Okay, several of you typing in phantom trade, right? Absolutely. So now, when you look at a phantom type trade, what are you actually looking for? Because we're going to talk about phantoms. That's basically a retrace type trade. It's a deep retrace. And what you're going to be looking for is the color of the background, pardon me, and the color of the midband itself. Okay, the color of the background on a phantom will always be this lighter red color, which like a pink color, with a midband being this color or red. If it's rose colored, you got to be careful with it because that means it's a little bit more sideways. This is pretty sideways though. This has been sideways since 1:30 the afternoon before. See that flat line? It's totally flatlined. And that's what you want to start looking for also when you want to decide how to take these trades. Because if you see no stair stepping, see how this stair stepped down here? So you look for a midband trade. It didn't stair step below, so you don't look for another midband trade. You could take one if you wanted to, but always be more careful with it if it doesn't ratchet. Because usually it's a rule, if you take a midband type trade and it doesn't roll over and take out the previous low, then you're not really looking for another midband trade, or you're looking for these deeper trades. Okay? And this again is one of my favorite ones. Okay? Now, could this actually break to the upside? Yes, but what would we be looking for if it did? Because this is really important to be able to know. You know, for instance, could this have been a, you know, when you saw these higher lows along here, could you have actually drawn a trend line and gotten a long trade on this chart here? Something like that? You can, because there's trades all over the charts all the time. But there was also this trade here too, which was pretty much at the time when it rolled over also. Okay? But what I'm going to teach you about today, though, is a little bit more waiting for these, a little bit more conservative type trades. Okay? Like, for instance, this is a phantom type trade right here. Everybody kind of called it out. You can clearly tell by the color of the background, the fact that it is a short colored midband, and it went from one extreme to the other. Okay? So you went from longs to shorts. Okay? And that's something you got to really train yourself to see, simply because if you got this color background, unless you were already long way down here, to give an example, you really don't want, you know, this trade as far as a long, like boxing it in right here. If I was to take this trade long, here's the way I would be looking for it. I would be looking for, this is your swing right here, right? I would be looking for a thrust up, a good thrust up, and even change my midband. And then I would be looking for a retracement into support. Okay. And if you don't get that, then this isn't really changing trends. Now, this is a good long trend down here. We even teach this trade here. Okay. Because you can actually take these trades when you start seeing higher lows and you want to, you know, box these little areas in or something. You can try them for scalps. But that's not the topic of the webinar today. We're going to talk a lot more about the conservative type trade. So if you were to take this trade right here, this particular trade, this retrace trade right here, you want to be careful if it just gets barely up to line 6 and rolls over, but you can box those in, you know, and still get a good trade. It looks like that one would have been an excellent trade, okay? But that's not a phantom trade. A phantom trade has to be in this area right here on a short. Has to be between line 6 and line 7. And I personally like them where they at least close a bar above it. See that bar that closed above it there, and that bar even closed above it there? This bar closed down below it, that bar closed down below it, and that bar closed down below it. But the bars that close up above it's telling you that they're trying to test that phantom and possibly give you a rollover. Okay? Now, when you are sideways like this, though, keep in mind that you may not just run like crazy on this. You've got to, you know, watch the lightning as it goes down, if it does. And if it starts stair stepping back up, you get out. Okay? Or a trend line. Trend lines are really good too. Okay? Now, does everybody see that? Like, you know, for instance, this is like 1 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, this just happened to be where I downloaded my information for my webinar today, you know, my market replay. And this is where we're at. Now, I traded this particular thing later on in the morning, and I even showed that trade where Linda got that and I got it too, okay, on Friday. But how would you trade this? How would you trade this particular trade? This could be early trend change, right? I thought I missed your saying this. It could be an early trend change, yes. Yeah, one thing you're looking at too, by the way, see you had a little double bottom here, you had a little higher high here, you had a little higher low here, you had a little higher high here, and even here you had the same low, and then now you're stepping up again, right? But this is still a phantom trade. Now, will this trade work out as a phantom? Anybody? Well, you don't really know just yet, do you? Because this trade could work out or it might not work out. But it is a true phantom trade, and it's one that I would actually, box in. Now, you don't have to take, 3 or 4 contracts on this. You could just simply go for little 10-tick trades if you wanted to. The reason I recommend, the 2 contracts at least is simply because you want to get a scalp, so you can get some money under your belt. Okay. Does anybody see any reason why you wouldn't want to take this trade as far as a phantom with the way it's taught? Because if you look at this particular video that's right here, that phantom trades explained, that's a classic phantom trade. And it's one of my favorite because it is a retrace trade and you're looking for a rollover type trade. Okay. Now, if you look on the left at your lightning 3, let me just show you something here. All right, see the high, the low, the lower high, the lower low. On the left side of the screen, this is way over here, obviously, where they're not going to actually go this high. But see on the left side of the screen, that's a downtrend. Everybody see that? High, low, lower high, lower low. They're retracing. They're trying to make, well, for instance, if you look at your fib numbers even, you might even want to start doing that. This looks to be pretty close to a 61% retracement on a move, right? It's really around the 50. So is this an uptrend yet? Well, our software says that it's not. Okay, because if you look at the red background, the magenta colored midband, you're still pretty much looking for shorts unless you can grab those longs down in here. For instance, if you were shorting up in here and you wanted to draw trend lines along these lows and take a quick 10 ticks, draw a trend line, take a quick 10 ticks, draw a trend line, take a quick 10 ticks. You can do that. Because when something's sideways like this, you can absolutely draw trend lines on your charts and use Object Trader even to take the trade. Okay, let's go ahead and put Object Trader on, and it's in replay mode, okay? And I always like to leave mine at the default. It's up to you, whatever you want this default set at right here. This just simply means that if you were to start firing market orders, you could only get 3 contracts on this particular chart. Okay, even if you put it in auto mode. So it's real smart to keep this at a good amount that you're comfortable trading. Okay, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, so in a case like this, you could actually obviously draw a region, right? Right now we couldn't draw it up here because it's already too late, right? We walked into our trading room and the bar's already closing down. Okay. Everybody see that? Now, you might want to just box it like this, where it comes back down below line 6 and you just take the trade, put your stop above the top. Okay? But since we're already here, we're going to have to box it a little bit different. We're going to have to actually do it more like that, to where if it does break the box, that we will get the trade. Not much of a scalp. There's support right there and there's support right there, right? So my personal favorite way is touch plus 2. And keep in mind, I'm not going to take a long because it could fake you on that. You could get a line 7 phantom and end up getting faked in and then taken for a ride, right? Because we're looking at the logical thing on this chart. Everything's saying that it's still short. Okay, this is pretty important when you have this midband here. This doesn't change for just no reason. It changes when a trend changes. So our trend hasn't changed back the other way. Now it looks like it could, but it's not yet. Okay. So in this particular case, you would just simply put your short enabled, short outside, touch, and you might want to do 2. And, you know, if you want to do like 8-tick scalp instead, you can certainly do that and do like a runner, you know, like say even 30 or something like that. And you can change all that in Object Trader and even set it as your default. And those videos under the ebook show you how to do that. All right, but let's see what we get. And by the way, if you could just get little scalps, they're pretty amazing, you know, to get $200 here and there to begin with, because this does add up. The only time you want to be careful with trading is just like on Friday, you know, when we said there for a bit that they were really running those algos. You got to be careful in that stuff, because they'll go from a low to a high in a split moment. And okay, so you are in the trade. Now you would bring your stop just to right above that box right there, and I like to usually use exit on close. Okay, now that is a phantom trade right there. All right, now I would have rather had it at 57, to be truthful about it, but since we didn't start or get up, for instance, let's say you got up and it was already doing this, because it's great to look where you could do a trade. It's where you actually get to do the trade, and you just got to be careful with your trade. I got 10 ticks on that. Okay, let's see what that stop. Would you leave it or kill trade if it closes back in the box? Well, Brian, on your question, if it's your first trade of the day, you could go ahead, and if it closes back, in this case, looking to the left to trade the right, I would want to see it go above this swing right here. So yeah, you could put your stop right there, to give an example, like with close of the bar. Yeah, not so much just inside the box, simply because, well, you've got resistance right there. But if you also just don't want to give up any money, if it closes back inside the box, you could always get out of it by simply saying, you know what, if it goes back inside the box, I'll just, you know, short those 2 contracts, which would mean I would be taking them off the table. Okay. Now, like always, this is how things start out. You ever notice that you're down 50, you're down, you know, 100. See how that just kissed that swing right there? Now, it may get us. We'll see. No, we're good, I think. It held. See why I put my line there, though? Because you had resistance right there, and they're going to check that. All right. Now, the important thing when you're going sideways is you got to know when to get out of these trades, because until they break this support right here, or at least this support, you know, draw a trend line or something, they're not really heading down yet. And truthfully, to me, I don't really feel they're heading down real well until they take this out with a good vengeance and everything, and then come back and kiss it. You know, maybe not that far, but let's just leave these arrows on the chart and see if anything like that happens. Because this is the left side of the chart, downtrend. This is resistance. This is slop. This is choppy. Okay, we should have taken some coin on that, shouldn't we? We did hit mid-band. I usually like to get out of these trades at mid-band, at least part of it. But since we didn't, we just didn't. Okay, now if this closes below this little swing right here, and by the way, you don't have to take profit if you can watch a bar. Now, if a bar goes ahead and closes down, see, I can move this line. Okay, now I could even bring my stop like right there now. Okay, because it shouldn't go above that, and I'm risking 3 ticks. Okay, everybody see how that works? Now, if you were trading this trade in real time with your real money, what you'd really want to do is you'd want to watch this little zigzag effect. See, right now it's just kind of heading down, right? Will it go all the way to the bottom? We don't know. If it starts zigzagging back up, you just get ready to hit the coin. Or you can simply use your power meter, and if it goes power meter to the upside, you can get out of the trade. And if it starts stair-stepping, you would get out of the trade. Now, we don't know if it's going to do that, but it just hit support. See, we're only in one because we took profit. And it looks like it's going to get us. Yep, got us. All right, see, you still saved $210 on that. All right, everybody see how that works? Now, could that have been a decent little trade there on that mid-band? Yes, except they didn't ratchet down. I'd rather them ratchet down or at least come down and check that low before I look for another trade. Let's see if we get something. We'll see if we get something. We're watching. Remember, we're looking for what type of trades? Retrace trades, right? This retraced beautifully. Matter of fact, if you hadn't gotten out of that trade, where I did, you know, because it literally did the little lightning deal here. Now, what if I would have put my stop right there with the close of a bar? It looks like it would have still gotten me. Now, if you would have put it at mid-band with the close of a bar, it never got you, and you're still in the trade. That's one of the, I think one of the toughest things for most everybody to do is let these things retrace hardly at all. And I fall for it too. You know, like Linda did on Friday, to give an example. You know, she left a good 40 ticks on the table or better, but she was ready to hit the button because she also knows how this garbage does. You know, she's been being taught by me long enough to see that, you know, for instance, if you would have boxed this one in, you got like 10 ticks and you're back out of the trade. Okay. And then you don't take a trade until at least gets at mid band. You know, you could box it in, get another one. This one didn't even ratchet down. You could box it at mid band, didn't get it. You boxed it here where we just did. Okay. Now let's see if looking at retraces, if everybody can figure out where the next trade is. I'm going to let it go a little bit and then we'll see if we can call it out. There was one. See it? Anybody call that out? The resistance kiss. Now I turned that up pretty fast so we weren't able to get it, but everybody see that could have been a decent trade for you? Okay. Now this is ratcheting a little bit lower, just barely, than this, so we could be looking for another short trade. Let's see if we can get one. And we'll watch for predictors to form, and we'll watch for mid-band type trade. Okay, predictors saying right here, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. I'm going to look to the left to trade the right. I don't see anything on the left, so that predictor is looking, well, maybe right here is where it's looking. See that little swing right there? And then I see another swing right here. And let's see if we can get a little sweet spot. And if we do, we'll take that. Now, keep in mind, this could be a double bottom, but what are we looking at so far? We're looking at stair-stepping down, right? Now it's stair-stepping back up. There's a lightning 3. Okay, so you have a high, you have a low, you have a lower high. So as long as it doesn't take that high out right there, we're looking for a trade anywhere in this area right here or here. Everybody see that? Now let's see if we can get one. Just kiss predictor. What do you think? We waiting too long? What do you think? Anybody? I like an ABC, by the way. A, no B yet. Trying to do a B. There's a B. A, B. C needs to at least come even with this or higher. And no higher than this, by the way. That would be a trend change. What do you think? Anybody? Got to think quick. I'm going to take it. It closed outside our little box. We're going to put our stop just above mid-band like that. All right, and then we're going to see if we can get this little trade here. Now remember, if they don't ratchet, we're going to go higher next time. Okay, if they ratchet down below here, we'll look for a mid-band again. But if they don't ratchet higher, we're going to look for phantom again, or close to it. Okay, let's see if they take out that low. Turn on our little PMI again and take the trade off the table if it does a lightning up. Didn't quite get to our predictor just yet. See if this works for us. Oh, and by the way, we would definitely lower our stop too, on top of that swing for right now. There we go, we're out again. So we got 300 bucks on those trades, right? Now, notice that this didn't ratchet down. Okay, it didn't take out this low right here. So what kind of a trade are you looking for? Anybody? What do you think? Well, you could look for a mid-band, yes, but you want to also look very possibly higher, or you're going to box it a little bit tighter. You know, for instance, like if we get a predictor and we get any kind of a rollover, then we would look to take the trade. All right, but only if it does a little consolidation patch and lets us do it. Everybody see that? Okay. Let's see, I like to take the previous two swings up to measure where I want to get short in this case. You can do that. You're talking about like your fib, Kevin? Or just at your swings? At the swings? Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Let's draw on our chart. Okay, we have a low, we have a high, higher low, same high. All right, so this could be like a little A, B, C now. See where this was at first, A, B, C. We even took it, okay? Now what we're looking for is very possibly like an A, B, C and go a little higher. And predictors saying we're going to go a little higher, like right up in here. Look to the left to trade the right. See if we got any swings. We do have a lightning 3 swing right there. Over here on the left, see it? This one's a little higher right here. That's above mid-band. So I think I'd be looking for a trade right in this little sweet spot right in through here, if it kisses. Okay, let's see if we can get something. Now if it goes higher, we're going to be looking higher, and I'm going to be looking more in this area, like right here, and even here if it doesn't go as high as Phantom. Because a lot of times when they take out micros and they take out these medium swings, they'll barely take them out, so they could easily hit in this area here and then roll over too. So we'll watch that too. Let's see if we can get something. Now, how many of you, and by the way, if you've had 2 trades in a row that are profitable, you don't have to keep trading this range at all. You know, because we've already drawn on our chart. This is a range. And so what you're going to do, if you get a ratchet, you'll look for mid-band. If you get no ratchet, you're looking for those higher trades. And you can still look for, you know, thrust, retrace, thrust, rollover type trades, draw trend lines and things like that. Okay. Let's speed this up. This must have been really slow. There's a ratchet. Okay, so this ratcheted down, what do you think? We're looking for a mid-band trade. All right, so we have a high here, high, low, lower high, lower low. They can't take this out if they're going to continue down. Okay, now they could take it out just like with a tick or so, or a wick, but they can't take it out because they're proving already that they have a high here, a low here, lower high, lower low. Everybody see that? So let's look at our swings again. Let me get rid of this lightning 3 and we'll just look at the numbers. And let me get rid of all but the arrow lines. We'll draw some extra lines on the chart. All right. Let's get rid of this. We don't need it. Get rid of this. We don't need it. All right, so let's look to the left to trade the right. We've got a swing right across here. We got a swing here that they can't take out because they got lower lows. So we're going to draw another line. So we're not going to go that high. More than likely, we're going to go around this high or possibly one of these. So we're going to do a little sweet spot right in that area right there. Everybody see why I did that? You got a swing. So you're high, low, lower high, lower low, looking to left. They really shouldn't be able to take out that swing even. You expect a lower high if they're going to head down, that is. Now, what if they don't head down? Well, that's a possibility that they won't. We'll find out. We will find out. But if they ratchet down like they did, I'm looking for a mid-band type trade. Everybody see how that works? You know, because if you stair step, then you can look for these mid-band trades, because you kind of figure that they're more than likely going to continue stair stepping because that's what they're doing. Now, if they quit doing that, you know, to give an example, like on this chart right here, let me get rid of everything for just a minute, show you something. If they were to take this out, like so, well, won't draw. Like so, would that be a trend change, yes or no? No, right? Because we would have to start breaking this, for instance, and then coming back and kissing it and then take off, right? Let's see, when do you look for a minimum criteria trade versus mid-band? Well, MG, on your question, I don't like minimum criteria trades when they're choppy. You're going to want to at least get a retrace of a mid-band or higher on a rollover type trade. Okay? Because let me just turn on the mid-band, as a matter of fact, or the minimum criteria. That's a good question there. See, like right here, you had a minimum criteria. And if you would have happened to box that at the time here, you would have gotten faked in, you know, but yet it was a beautiful mid-band, or even this trade. See, there's minimum criterias all over. Where you want to do your minimum criteria is pretty much when they're not choppy. It's more like this stuff right here. See, when they really start heading down, you know, like you get a thrust down, retrace, break, you know, checks the high, rolls over. Those can be pretty good, you know, minimum criteria type trades if you get those, because they are stair stepping and heading down. And a lot of times when they're really stair stepping down, you may not even get a minimum criteria. That looks like the only one on here to me. I don't know if it would even flash. Let me look. Well, it's not flashing. So see, they didn't close above line 2. Now that doesn't mean if you miss this trade here that you can't take this trade when it kisses. See that kiss trade right there? Kissing? You can take that. And also when they hit the stealth and everything and start rolling over, you can take them too. I should have added that as another alert. I think I might do that, but we've almost got enough alerts on here. All right, let's look and see what we got. We're diagnosing our chart to see what we can get. We don't want to go any higher than this on what we call lightning 3. Okay. Now on lightning 1 and 2, we're already breaking those. So, you know, they're trying to do their retrace. That's what you're looking for. Anytime they break micro, they'll go up and check these medium swings or get you a lower high in the case of a short. Okay. So what do you think? We're looking for a trade. Anybody? What do you think? Well, you haven't got an ABC, have you? This would be a riskier trade, but what if this rolled over right here? Could you try to take the trade? What do you think? No, I'd want to box it. Okay, see, if you took it right there, for instance, you'd be in it and you'd have to put your stop really, really tight. Okay, I personally like to see something like this, where you get a thrust, somewhat of a retrace, and then another thrust, like an ABC. Now, we don't know where it's going to go, but that's an ABC. Or even this is an ABC. If it just barely touches the top of that, that's still an ABC. Okay, let's see what it does. There's a mid-band though. What do you think? Got to make a decision quick. What do you think? Just kissed it, but I'm going to put a really tight stop on it. Everybody see why? Kissed resistance right there. Now, was that a little bit gutsy of a trade? What do you think? It may work out and it may not as far as that goes, but you know, I've got a really tight stop on it just in case. Everybody see how I saw that? Thrust, retrace, thrust. You shouldn't take out that swing. They check these swings. Draw your lightning 2 and lightning 3s There's lightning 2 right there. See high, low, lower, high, lower, low. They tested it. Okay. So that is a rollover as far as that goes, right? So do you always wait for that ABC? Well, it depends, Brian. It depends on what it's looking like. What you're mainly looking for is you don't want to get such a box that you get in these trades where they don't have anything left in them. You know, for instance, if I'd drawn a line on that chart in the room right there, we would have definitely taken that trade. If it, you know, it was 4:30 in the morning, so obviously our room wasn't open, but I would take that trade. And I would think, looking to the left to trade the right, that it would probably give me at least down to this swing. So I'd probably move my target just a little bit like that. And then I'd leave my stop in. And if it gets me, it gets me. Now, what's our rule? If it ratchets, we'll look for another mid-band trade. If it doesn't ratchet, we won't look for another mid-band trade. We'll look for higher. So let's see what it does. And always keep in mind when they do their little zigzag and everything, you can draw trend lines on these charts, or you can use this power meter either way to get out of these trades. You know, for instance, how deep is this going to go? Well, you don't know yet. There's a little ABC type. It almost got us. Came really close to getting us. We had our stop in though. Everybody see that? That's one of those that checked it twice. Why are there 2 stop orders? That is the beauty of our scripts there, Gary B. This is actually a stop that is not at your broker. It's a line on your chart is all it is. Whenever I hit this exit on close, your actual trade that's at your broker would be this one right here. See if you look at your stop order right here, this is at your broker. See, pardon me, 55.51. Now that's way up there, so you don't really want that. But this is my stop, but only if it closes above it. So see, the broker doesn't have that. They've got this just in case I lose power on my computer, but this would get me out if it closes above it on a short and below it on a long. That's a beautiful feature we built into Object Trader. By doing this, it allows you, by the way, you can already see, you could draw a trend line on this, couldn't you? If this bar closes down, that is. Everybody see that? Lightning? Let's see if it does it. Okay, now we can redraw our trend line. Something like that. And we could just run our runner way out of the way if we want, or we could go ahead and take some profit if we want to. We're up nearly $500. That's what my wife did on Friday. You know, she said, you know what, that looks pretty good to me. What do you think? Take it, or what do you want? What do we do? You got to make those decisions. Let it ride? All right, we'll let it ride. Oh yeah, definitely lower stop though, right there. Now, like I say, the beauty of this, everybody, including Gary that asked about it, uh, this exit on close is a great feature, because notice that when we had that stop right here at this mid band, that it wicked it and it never took it. That's a pretty good feature. By the way, I can even do this if I want to. You know, say, you know what? If this decides to break my trend line, I could take the trade off the table by using a wedge. And if it takes that off the table, I'll just simply take it off if it even touches above that line. See there, because that wedge will actually help me get out of that trade if it does. Now, like I said, what I'm trying to teach today is basically when these things are choppy and everything, I don't like mid-band trades as much. I like these deeper ones. But if you do ratchet, these are fine. Okay, but what you want to do is you want to get in the habit of realizing that they're not all going to do it. For instance, if you did this trade here, for instance, and it comes down, it doesn't ratchet down, look at what it did. It went higher. So you boxed it in, you got you another trade. This one didn't ratchet down, so I would not have probably taken that trade right there. I would expect it to ratchet up or to roll over even with this one and take out the low and then ratchet. See what I mean? Otherwise, I'd be looking for this trade. This trade right here will make you a lot of money. You just got to watch for it. Now we just hit support. What do you think? See what it's going to do. Now notice that my stop doesn't really matter though. My stop is right here where we just got, we're going to get, looks like going to get taken out. Notice how that touched that line, but it didn't go above it by more than the 1 tick plus 1. So we're still okay. See what it does. There you go, you're flat. See how that didn't even need that stop because I used a trend line. Now, what did it do just then? It didn't ratchet down. So are we looking for a mid-band trade? No. No, I'd be looking higher. So draw on your chart. Okay, look to the left, trade to right. High, low, lower, high, lower, low. So that's like an ABC. So I'm going to put a line right there. I'm going to put a line right there. That one kissed our line, so you've got to go higher than that. Otherwise, and we could trend change. We'll find out. If it breaks this line, I would be looking for a trend change, only if it changes the background to the green. Okay. Now, could you actually, if you wanted to, though, could you draw trend lines and even try to get some quick trades? You could, but I'm not going to show that as much today. I want to show you retrace trades that inevitably work out pretty well. Okay. Now, I've drawn on the chart quite a bit. Y'all tell me where the next trade is. Here we go. Here we go. Everybody see what we're looking for? What are we looking for? Well, looking to the left to trade the right, you've got a high, low, lower, high, lower, low. They did take this out. They haven't taken this out yet. Okay, over here on the left. So we're looking for a phantom type short or even possibly a blue bar probe short, right? Wouldn't that be what we're looking for? And see how predictor pegged that too? It's telling us that we're looking for. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and hopefully that bar will close. No, I'm going to take it. Because see, that bar's trying to close down. We should have taken it on this bar right here. See that 1, 2, 3 rollover? We'll go ahead and tighten our stop just in case. Exit on close. Put our target down here at the swing. And we'll see if we can get it. Now I can tell you one thing to look for also, and I holler this out in the room all the time in real time, so you know that we're able to nail this. When they go above a resistance area and they barely do it and they break down back below it, you know what they're going to do? Probably won't this time, but anyway, I'll tell you what they're going to do because they usually do. They'll come down, they'll come back and kiss, and then they'll roll again. Because when they break them, they got to check them. And you'll find that time and time again, especially if, they try to fake people into a long or something like that. Now, we would have never fallen for a long because what do, everyone? Even if we took this trade, we would have only boxed it for it to have gone up and we would have never gotten a long. So we are short on it. We're retrace traders, absolutely. Okay, everybody see that? Now, let me ask you a question. Let's kill this trade for just a second, and I'm going to kill lightning. What does anybody think about trend line trading? Does anybody trade trend lines? Because it's trying to break one now. What do you think about that right there? You want to try it and see if it works? It'll probably tag me in, and then it won't, but I'm going to take it if it does. If it breaks that trend line. Let's say that you weren't up here, okay? And you get up at 6 o'clock and you see this right here, okay? This is actually a trade that I actually took on Friday on, when this market literally just went nuts, but it didn't go nuts right away. It went sideways for a bit, okay? This trend line, though, you can actually set that to where if it touches one tick below it plus one tick to confirm, it'll fire the trade, okay? That's called a wedge trade. See, it's still messing around. Now again, this is where I'd be looking for the trade right here. See, when I took it, it kissed right where I said it. I thought it would, because they do that a lot. They will actually, try to fake people and go the other direction. And by the way, I felt a little heat on it because I took this trade on Friday, okay, because I saw them kiss that line. And by the way, you can even add more. For instance, if that wedge gets broken, and go for the low right here. And of course, you'd put your stop. I'd probably put my stop just in case. Let's just see if it's going to get us at all. If that bar closes down, I'll put my stop above it. There we go. And then I'd be out of the trade if it does happen to take that. Will it close? We'll find out. See, it kissed resistance again. This is that one I took on Friday, and I felt a little bit of, because I actually got in right about there on Friday, and it came up and kissed that area there, and that's when I added one. Now, Linda, on hers, she just pretty much got hers the same spot I did, but only one contract. And this little jewel, literally, when it broke, it fell like a stone. I mean, I don't know what kind of news came in, Trump speaking or whatever. But does everybody see truly how you can trade these things? And even when it's choppy like that, you've got to watch for the particular type of trade. If it ratchets, look for a mid-band. If it doesn't ratchet, look for higher. That works quite well. And if your particular trade doesn't show up like that, then just don't trade it. She traded in the same room with you or beside you, was just wondering. Well, Kenneth, what I'm trying to do with her is actually get it to where she's pretty much done before we open the room, because I'm all yours. I'm not going to be helping her during the room or something like that. Now, if she happened to be in a trade, I would probably go ahead and coax her, coach her as where to take it or whatever. But usually, as a rule, we're kind of done. Okay, let me show you just real quick. This isn't to brag or anything like that, but this is my coaching with her. Okay, she's had 5 days complete. A beautiful graph. Plots, P&L. Notice where it now flatlines at 0. She can't go lower than, it looks like 0, which basically the reason they do that is because they don't want to lose their money. Okay, so see how it's flatlining at 0 now? So she's got from 29.36, and it does let you go below 15.63, but not on the same day. Okay, because she's allowed to go no more than $3,000 down on a day, which she's not going to do that. I'm not going to let her. And she can't exceed 3,000 weekly loss. Well, you can clearly see it's not losses. It's good. So she's up 29.36, 1,000 a week. So, because this is legitimate. This is a real account. This is a pro-funded account with Top Step Trader. And you can clearly see it's 100% winning. So that's actually literally how we teach this. Wow, this thing jumped up on us. we got taken out of our trade. The jealousy of other vendors is a compliment to us, but the only thing is, Walter, that it does also, somewhat hurt, simply because, people that have never heard of us before, they can scare them off, because they'll say, well, those those guys aren't. You know, it's real easy to have a webinar and show, you know, after, but see, showing something like that proves it. You know, but we're not about, you know, just handing people the trades. And by the way, even the way I'm teaching her to trade, she's having to kind of let me know to confirm that she's seeing the trade that I'm seeing, because I'm not going to just spoon feed her trades either. Because if something happened and I was gone, to give an example, you know, Lord forbid something happened, but if something did happen like that, then who knows, maybe she'd want to be able to trade some and, you know, supplement income, because that type of thing does work. It really does. By the way, I called this trade on Friday morning. Anybody remember this? Now let's go over the anatomy of this. Let me just show you what went on. First off, let me show you what happened on Friday morning. Trend line, look at that trend line. Notice support was right here. See your high, low, lower high. So when you draw a trend line, you can always look at the swing itself and then redraw like that. See where the support is? So you didn't have to take that trade until when it broke. And notice that it even kissed it. Now notice after that, it didn't really kiss. I mean, you didn't even get a chance at that trade till right there. That's a minimum criteria trade, but you know, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Kevin says, I like your program because your stops are closer and better placed for less drawdown. Yeah, because the whole thing is, if you draw down a lot, you know, you're just going to give away your account, because, you know, how many trades like this would eat your lunch if you put heavier stops on them? You know, but we diagnose this in real time with being able to draw our lines and stuff like that. So you know where these trades are going to. Phantom trades are absolutely beautiful trades like that. That trade right there, absolutely one of my favorites. Okay, now let's go over the same thing though. We're talking about retrace trades and kiss trades. So you missed out on all of this on Friday morning. All right, well, you had an opportunity right here. If you missed it, then you missed still. Minimum criteria is short right in here. That didn't flash it though, didn't close above it. Now let me ask you a question though. Just because the alert didn't flash, does anybody see that you could have still taken this trade here by boxing it in? Yeah, you could still take the trade. All right, but and by the way, it ratcheted down for sure. And keep in mind that they don't have to go to mid-band. That's a deeper retracement type trade. But let's look at this and let's see. I'm gonna turn this off real quick, and let's turn on the mid-band trade. And does anybody see a mid-band trade setting up right there? What do you think? Is that a trade? How would you box it? Well, one way you can even get to where you do on these mid-band trades, by the way, is just simply see where everybody knows how to count the lines, right? You got line 0, 1, 2, and so on. Everybody know that? Oh, I agree with you, Nasir. I am the same way when it comes to mid-band trades after a 100-tick drop. But a mid-band trade is still a good trade. Remember when Charles took that trade on Friday and I was already done because I had hit real good goals on both of my accounts and I showed them? You don't have to take a trade like that, but it's still a good trade setup. So when is this trade a good trade setup? It's already done an ABC. See it? A, B, C. That's actually a Gartley. Everybody know what a Gartley is? It's just more where the A, the B, and then the C is taken out by quite a bit. I don't know the exact definition for them, but that's what I call a Gartley. Okay, so that did do an ABC. So could you box it in right there? Put your stop right above there. You're in, right? You're still in. You're still in. You're still in. 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 You probably want to put a line right across here just in case you're in multiples. I'd look to the left to trade the right and see if I had a swing. Got a swing right there. Like so. I definitely wouldn't let them go any higher than that, but you would have already taken some coin too. Let's see what they do. Still in. See how it kissed? Still in. Still in. Still in. And so on. Kissed again. Notice how they kiss them twice. See how when they take out a swing to the left, they'll usually kiss it. Kissed it. Taking out a little bit. See how that works? Now, if you get a lower high, they should head down again. If they don't get a lower high, you won't. Everybody see that? Let's see what it does. Kissed your line again. Another mid-band trade. What do you think? Anybody? See how that actually goes? Now, could you actually get out of this trade and back in, or would it be smarter to ride the trade just to see if you continue getting these lower highs and lower lows? Because all they're doing is checking that swing right there. See there? That's why when we draw these lines on these charts, they work out so well. All right, you ratcheted down. What do you think? Mid-band trade or not? It's dropped 100 and some odd ticks. But what's the rule? It ratcheted down. You can clearly see it ratcheted down. There was support right there. I mean, they took it out with a vengeance, didn't they? So that's a mid-band trade, right? That's absolutely a mid-band trade. So draw on your chart and you'll see where they should retrace to. There's resistance. There's resistance right there where that dot is. That also happens to be where this swing is. See it? Thrust, retrace, thrust. So that's a swing. So if they roll anywhere in this area right here, that's definitely a mid-band trade. And you would short it. Now, keep in mind, we're way on the other side of the chart, so we're not going to do that. But notice how you would do that. Everybody see that? And by the way, that was about the time we opened our room up right there. Well, no, not quite, about 30 minutes before. So you've had how many yellow bar probes, but what did it just do again? Anybody? It ratcheted, right? I mean, if they break these support levels by X number of ticks, now when they start just breaking them by just a little bit, you got to really get concerned. But each time they break these and they just keep breaking them, they're ratcheting down. See, they ratcheted. So would you be looking for a mid-band trade? Let's draw it and see. I see a swing right here. See thrust, retrace, thrust. As they haven't checked yet. I see this swing here they haven't checked yet. I look to the left to see my mid-band. This little area right here. And I see a little micro swing right here looking to the left to trade the right. Like that. So anywhere that it goes up and rolls, I would take the trade. Let's see if it does. What do you think? Anybody? Got to make that decision. What do you think? Let's go ahead and take it. Now, quick question. Is that a ratchet? Nope. It's a double bottom. Now, if you get a lower high than this swing right here, you're still heading down. Okay? But they cannot take this out right here or even this swing right here because looking to the left to trade the right, you're actually seeing lightning swings over here. Let me draw them. that right there, you really have now looking from the larger perspective versus the micro, you still have a high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. If they take that out right there, they're no longer heading down. Okay, it doesn't mean they're heading up yet, but they're no longer heading down. Okay, see what they do. Still heading down, right? You're still okay. Still okay so far. Now, is that very much of a ratchet? What do you think right there? I like them to at least break by 10 ticks for a good ratchet, but this is a ratchet. It did break down, so you could try one more mid-band type trade because it did ratchet barely, but you also got to start looking at something else too, and that's how much it's really dropped. You know, and in the scheme of things, if you got up in the morning and let's say you had missed all this, then if you drew on your charts, you'd say, okay, I've got support, resistance here. I've got support here, basically, because that's where you're seeing it, right? So until they get out of this, you're pretty much range bound, right? So you would just watch it, see if you get an ABC. There's an ABC. Everybody see that? You got a little ABC. Now, if I was to take this trade, like let's say for instance that I don't get up to mid-band and this thing rolls over, I would probably put a lot tighter than some of this. But let's see what this does. Got still ratcheting up so far. There's a mid-band trade. What do you think? Anybody? Only if it takes out this little box right here. Let's see if it does. I'll draw the box like so. I'd even put it here myself because if it does go down there, you'd still be okay. That's a little swing right there they're trying to make. So just so you don't get wicked in, let's see what it does. And then you go higher, like so. Then you go higher again, like so. Getting right at the sweet spot. Okay, we're in. Nope, 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 nope. I'd put my stop right above that right there. Everybody see that? And by the way, that didn't close outside that box. It only wicked it. See the box? It closed still inside the box. So you wouldn't have gotten, and now with my form of trading, you would have gotten that trade because I do a touch plus 2, so it would have nailed me into the trade. But I wouldn't have put my stop way above here, you know, with a trade like that. I'd look to the left to trade the right, and I'd see this swing over here, and I definitely wouldn't let them close like that. It'd be out. Okay? That's the way you do this. This is done all the time. If you get a trade and it works your direction and you get these nice pops down and everything, take some coin because, you know, you'll be surprised when you do that. You're going to get those P&Ls kicking up, you know, $300-400 here and there. And if you look at, see, here's Linda's deal right here, for instance. This is her worst day was 332.60. Her best day was 792.60. And her average winning day last week was 587.36. So by looking at that, you can tell that, you know, that's almost $600 a day, which is not too shabby. That's like 2 contracts, a couple of trades. Okay, so that's what you want to do every single day. Watch for these trades, and if they don't work out, you know, if you get wicked into a trade, you know, keep in mind that this could absolutely still be one of those trades that you could take. You know, for instance, like right here with this ratcheting up, let's say you didn't get filled on this one because you had your box drawn more like that, so they never got you in, and now they're stair stepping up like this instead. Could you actually short that when it breaks mid band? You could. But what I've got a rule of thumb in too, though, if I get taken on one little trade, I'll usually wait to see what direction they're going to really head. Okay, so what would you be looking for in this case? I would be looking for, and I'll show you, and then we're going to wrap because I know I'm running a little bit over. I'm going to draw you two ways that this trade could go. All right, you have a support level here, you got a resistance level here, so I'm going to draw the lines. Let's say you were just getting to your charts. All right, so I would be looking for a trade like this that thrusts up and pulls back. Silly thing doesn't like to draw, does it? Well, come on. Would have to turn my background green, or I would look for a continuation breakdown below support now that they've given me a lightning 3. All right, let's see what they did. No thrust yet. Kissed support, didn't it? Just kissed support. So short's more than likely off the table. It didn't short it. Okay. Now, this is actually a phantom trade right now. If you take a phantom trade like this, I would probably take like a line 7, but I don't like the fact that this is actually definitely getting higher lows and higher highs. So let's see what this does. Thrust. There's your little retrace right there. What do you think? Anybody? Now this would be a gutsy trade, but if this was to kiss this area right here, I would more than likely take a shot at it. That is a kiss trade to me. See it right there? Let's just do one just for the fun of it. Buy. Okay, so we're in one. We're still in one. Okay, now we change green. All right. Now what's your trade on this chart now? Anybody? A retrace, right? Okay, so let's draw on the chart. You got support right there. You got support right here. They've already tested that one, right? Let's see if you can get that trade. There's the thrust. Predictor saying right here. What do you think? Looking to the left to trade the right, you've got to swing high, low, higher, high, like an ABC. So they shouldn't be able to take that out if they're going to head up. Let's see what happens. Box it in. I do believe we called that trade on Friday, if I remember right. Yeah, definitely did. Everybody see that? Perfect way to trade. And if you box in to where you actually have to break the left side of the screen to begin with, you know, but keep in mind when you get to these phantoms and stuff, first time in after a trend change only though, you're looking for, now you still could if they ratchet down. So this was a legitimate phantom, but they were screaming to change trends because they just barely took out these lows. And plus it was also close to 8 o'clock. And by the way, we got that trade. We also called this trade right here. This is a phantom trade right there. That worked. Everybody remember that? Beautiful trades. Okay. So anyway, that today is about waiting for the retrace to come to you. I know Charles, every single webinar he teaches, you know, he talks about these thrusts and retraces. And it's really important that you get the trade at the right spot. Draw your lines on your chart. They will check them. You can count on them checking them. They love to check. Everywhere you draw a line, they'll check. See how I drew that line ahead of time way over here? And yet, what they do, they checked it. Because we drew that when it was back over here at this swing. So that's what they're doing. They're constantly checking it. Okay, let's see. Did I miss the question, Lewis? Let me see. Above comment, Gary, didn't see. Lewis, just one second, I'll find it. Must have asked it quite a bit lower. I apologize for that. Let me alphabetize the names and I'll find you. Got a lot of people in today. Here we go. Let's see, Louis, you asked, starts with, sorry, above comment. I notice on long phantom CL when it turns yellow and you see a big red stealth, stay out of it for the most part. What do you think, Gary? Well, not necessarily, because see, here's a big old red stealth right here, you know, because this is just really kind of just thrusting down for a retrace. I love that trade myself. But you got to be careful with phantoms. Keep in mind that a phantom can always be a trend change. How would you have handled the mid-band trade at 813? Let's see, you're talking about this one right here? That one right there, Kevin? You would have boxed it and you never got filled. Because see, if you look at your thrust, retrace, thrust, you've got resistance right here. See, under that little bar? So basically, if you would have boxed it, something like that, you're seeing it comes down to mid-band. You're saying, okay, you've got resistance right up here. It's got to break that, and it didn't. But then just keep taking your box down. It works. I mean, does it work, you know, every single time? No. But it works so often that if we wait for these trades to come to us, that you'll find that your averages are going to be through the roof. I notice almost every day in the room, Charles will probably get in one and possibly even two mid-band trades that'll just, you know, get him in, but then come back against him. But you just got to be good at getting out of them. That's what the thing is. Just got to do that. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it, and have a great weekend. This was recorded and I'll get it up on the website. And keep in mind that every single chart does the same thing. I mean, you know, the one thing I have found out though on oil is the long phantom, if you're ratcheting and everything, you get this first phantom is pretty good. But I see these shorts all the time on oil work out for at least scalps when they're those phantoms. Okay? All right. Again, we'll see you on Monday. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome for the time. We always do these webinars. We believe in training, training, training. Thanks again, everyone.